So a viewer of the channel was asking me how they could improve their awareness on the football pitch. As I got older as a footballer, my spatial awareness improved dramatically, which led to me losing the ball less, making better decisions, and also having more time on the ball. So today I'll teach you how to have better awareness on the football pitch so you can see more success as a footballer. So the first way on how to improve your awareness on the football pitch is scanning. Now I'm pretty sure you've probably been told as a player, yo, you need to scan, you need to check your shoulders. And it's not just that your coaches are making noise or they're trying to, just bang on at you. It's literally just a case of, yo, checking your shoulders are so important. If you look at all your best players, all your favorite players that you like to watch, they're always scanning their shoulders, always scanning their shoulders. Some players are even scanning their shoulders like 10 seconds before they receive the ball and just sort of downloading the data, just sort of looking around on the pitch. Okay, where's my opponent? Where are my teammates? Where are the gaps on the pitch? Do I need to pass in a certain situation? Can I dribble? Do I need to play one touch, two touch? They're just sort of scanning, just checking their shoulders and just downloading the data, downloading that information. However, I see a lot of young players not really pick up the habit early of checking their shoulders. Like me personally, it took me until I was probably about 14, 15 until I was consistently scanning my shoulders. It wasn't until then where I actually understood the importance of checking my shoulders. I always used to wonder, yo, why do I keep losing the ball in certain situations? Or sometimes you get mad at your teammates for not shouting man on, but however, it's literally your fault. It's literally a case of like, yo, you need to know who's around you. You can't always rely on your teammates to say man on or to tell you, you have time to turn. You have to know it yourself. Yeah, they can tell you, but ultimately you have to know yourself. Okay, cool, I have time to turn. Okay, cool, I have a man on my back. Let me just bounce it back to the player who passed it to me, you understand? And how I personally got into the habit of checking my shoulders was literally just from individual training. Just literally, let's say I'll be doing wall passes. I'll literally just be doing passes on the wall, just getting my touches in before I actually go into the actual session. Literally, anytime I pass the ball and the ball hit the wall and rebounded back to me, I just check my shoulder like this. Left foot pass, check my shoulder. Right foot pass, check my shoulder. Take a touch, pass, check my shoulder. And I literally just got used to just that motion of just always checking, just always scanning my shoulders until I eventually got consistent at it. Literally, I started doing it in my individual training sessions, then in like the group training sessions, maybe in like a possession drill, or even in like rondos. Even when, let's say I'll be doing a training session with my cousin or just someone else, just two people doing training. Even when we were warming up and just passing it to each other, you start off with, passing it close to each other, then you sort of increase the distance, and then you sort of go into long passes, go into pings. Even when my boy was sort of pinging it to me, I was still just getting into the habit of just checking my shoulders, just imagining like in a game, let's say your teammate pings it to you. I was just imagining, yo, there might be someone behind me. Let me check my shoulder first and then bring the ball down. Or even when we were doing like one touch passing, just close in, just little bang, bang, bang. I was just always doing this, just kept turning my head, just getting used to that motion of just always checking my shoulders until I go into the football pitch and it became sort of second nature to me. Once you start doing them in small-sided games and then into your eventual matches, over time, once you keep doing this, once you keep, scanning your shoulders, once you keep, just doing that habit, you're going to start downloading the information a lot quicker, you understand? At first, it's going to be a bit, tricky where, you'll be scanning your shoulders, you'll be doing the habit, you'll be looking over your shoulders, but you won't actually be downloading the data. You won't actually be recognizing, okay, cool, there's a man here, there's a man here. You might just scan your shoulders just blindly, but you're not actually, taking in information such as, is my opponent next to me? Where's my teammate at? Can I play this next pass? Where is my next pass going to be? Do I need to play this in one touch or in two touches? What type of touch do I need to take? Do I need to turn? When I receive the ball from my centre back right here, do I need to turn this way or this way? Should I use the outside of my foot or the inside of my foot? You understand? Do I play just a first time ball and just sort of, what's it called, play my winger through? You need to download all of this information, you understand? But at first, your brain's not going to be moving that quick. Certainly, it wasn't the case for me. My brain wasn't really moving that quick. My brain could only literally process like maybe one or two options that I had, the next pass or maybe the next two passes, you understand? But over time, once you start scanning your shoulders, you're going to start looking around and you're going to know, okay, cool, I have this pass here, but if this pass gets blocked off, I'm going to have this pass, and then if that doesn't work, then I can do this, and if all else fails, I know I have the ability to, hold on to the ball, dribble, take a few touches, and just sort of find just sort of find someone, just sort of improvise. That's the sort of level you sort of have to get to, you understand? You don't want to just see one option and then receive the ball, and now that option's blocked off, and now you're stuck. You're thinking, oh, for fuck's sake, like, what do I do? You understand? You literally have to get to the point where there's 4 or 5 different scenarios in your head where it's like, yo, okay, cool, I know what to do. I see 3 options. To be honest, when you're scanning and you're looking for options, you always just have to have at least 3 options in mind. You know what I'm saying? 3 options minimum, because you know the other two can get locked off really, really quickly. Let's say let's say the ball gets stuck under your feet slightly, you understand? Or let's say you take a slightly heavy touch. Maybe those type of poor touches close down one option. So now one of your options are gone. So now you only have 2 left. And then let's say one of them gets locked off. You always have to have at least 3 options, in my opinion. One weakness that many footballers have is improving their weak foot. For some reason, a lot of players I've spoken to just can't seem to figure out how to improve their weak foot, whether they're right-footed or left-footed. But luckily for you, I've made a course on how to improve your weak foot. This course is currently in the works. In this course, I'm going to be showing you drills. I'm going to be teaching you how to get better at, you know, different aspects of the game in terms of your weak foot. So passing, your shooting, your dribbling, and I'll be teaching you stuff outside of the pitch that can actually help your weak foot as well, you know, things that no other football YouTuber is talking about. So if you're interested, if you want to improve your weak foot, click the first link in the description, get the course, and trust me, you won't regret. Your weak foot will 100% improve. And one more thing I want to say about checking your shoulders. Checking your shoulders doesn't just mean when you're about to receive the ball. You need to always be checking your shoulders. I'm talking about when you're running with the ball. When you're carrying the ball, let's say you're carrying the ball through midfield, or you're a fullback carrying the ball down the line, I still need you to be checking your shoulders mid-dribble, you understand? Because how do you know that there's not some let's say you're a fullback, how do you know that your winger is not running back, it's not chasing back after you, and then what happens? You don't recognize your winger, he's chasing after you, he just shrugs you off the ball like this, and you're thinking, raw, like, I didn't even recognize he was there. So literally, whilst you're dribbling with the ball, I need you checking your shoulders, just looking around, just seeing, okay, cool, is a player running, is a player literally sprinting behind me trying to get the ball? If he is, what side is he coming from? Is he coming from my left side? Is he coming from my right side? If he's coming from the right side here, then you can just, you know, swerve over to the left, or you can, you know, take that touch to the right, take a diagonal touch to the right, sort of get your body in front to the point where all they can do is foul you, you understand? You have to be downloading this sort of data. Another thing as well, let's say tracking your runners. As a fullback, I see fullbacks, literally professional fullbacks all the time, get caught ball watching and not following their man at the back post. If you guys watch the Bilbao Rangers game, I don't know if you watched the Bilbao Rangers game, Nico Williams, go look at that Nico Williams goal. The right back for Rangers, I think his name's Tavernier, he did not once, you know, glance over his shoulders to check if there was anyone, you know, if there was anyone at the back post. The Bilbao player on the opposite side, on the right hand side, took a touch, took another touch. Tavernier still hasn't looked over his shoulder, still doesn't know where the hell Nico Williams is. He even lines up for the cross. As he's lining up for the cross, Tavernier still doesn't know. Tavernier actually moves forward instead of, you know, moving backwards to meet the ball. He actually moves forward, and then guess what? As soon as the ball's mid-air, guess what? It's too late. He looks over his shoulder. Williams is already there. Williams, bang, header, 2-0, and that was the game pretty much, you understand? So literally in all situations, I need you scanning your shoulders. A lot of players think that, oh, scanning your shoulders is just when you receive the ball. Nah, when you're dribbling, when you're defending, always checking around, always looking for where your man is, from corners. I'm talking about even when you're making runs in the box, even when you're making a run, even as a winger. Let's say you've made a deep run as a winger. I need you, as that ball's traveling, whilst you're still running, I still need you to check your shoulders just to know, okay, cool, do I have time? Let's say your centre mid plays you through as a winger. As you're still running to go meet the ball, you still need to be checking to see, alright, cool, is the fullback close enough to me? How many touches do I actually have? Do I have, let's say you're through one-on-one, how many touches do I actually have before the fullback will actually catch me? You understand? Literally, do I have to take this in one touch? Is he really close? Do I have 2 touches? Do I have 3 touches? Or do I just have a lot of time to the point where I can sort of, you know, take 1, 2, 3 and then find the shot, you understand? So when it comes to checking your shoulders, I'm talking about all areas of the pitch, not just, you know, receiving the ball, or not just before you're about to receive the ball. This will lead to you having way more time on the ball. When you take a guy like Toni Kroos or Sergio Busquets or even Luka Modric. These guys who are always scanning their shoulders, always just looking around, same as Xavi. These guys always seem like they have the time and world on the ball simply because they've downloaded the data, they've looked around, they found the right spaces, and then they have more time on the ball, which leads to them making better decisions, you understand. Obviously, a part of this as well is the fact that they are press resistant. Because opponents know they're press resistant, opponents won't really, put pressure on them too much, because I think even Steven Gerrard said, yo, at a certain point you just have to stop pressing Busquets because he's just too press resistant. There's no point in, trying to get the ball off him. You just have to sort of cut off passing lanes. So with these pros, a lot of the time, because they are so press resistant that, opponents give them respect. Maybe in your games, your opponents don't give you the same amount of respect, but you still have to, look around and sort of see the gaps, see the spaces where you receive the ball, so you have a little bit more time. Because obviously when you have a good amount of time, it leads to better decisions on the pitch. It leads to you losing the ball less, maybe making key passes, progressing the ball, helping your team, create chances and score goals. Second point I want to make is analysing your favourite player when you watch football games. Now, I know this sounds cliche. I know you've probably been told, watch football games, see how the pros do it. But in my opinion, don't just watch to be a fan. I know if your team is playing and, it's an exciting game, like the Man United-Lyon game. I know if you're a Man United fan, you're just gassed, you're excited. But sometimes just take the time in matches just to analyse a player who plays in your position. It could be any player, it could be your favourite player, or it could just be any random player. Just whatever position you play, just watch the pros who play your position and just watch how they move on and off the ball, you understand? Sometimes don't even follow the ball. If the ball's on the other side, don't even follow him. Literally just follow your player. Just be like, alright, cool, what does he do in this situation? Learn from his actions and also learn from his mistakes, you understand? But literally just watch what he does on and off the ball, okay, and start asking yourself questions. Okay, why has he taken that type of touch? Why has he made that run? Why has he not gone to receive the ball in that area and he's just sort of held off and he's just sort of waited, you understand? Like my example in the last bit, I was watching, Tavernier when the ball came in, you understand? When the ball came in, I was watching him, is he going to check his shoulder? And I saw that he did not check his shoulder, and that's how he gets beaten at the back post. I watch a lot of fullbacks, and that's how a lot of fullbacks get beaten at the back post, simply because they just don't glance. Just have a glance and it'll be so easy. So now when I'm in that position on a match day, I'll always remember me watching, fullbacks getting beaten at the back post. So when I see someone lining up across on the other side of the pitch, let's say I'm the right back and I see their right winger lining up across to put in the box for their left winger, I'm always going to be just glancing, okay, where's my man, where's my left winger? Alright, cool, he's there, let me take a few steps back, let me get close to him and let me put him off for the header, you understand? Let me win the header, or if I can't win the header, let me put him off. Like for example, when I was watching the Lyon Man United game, when I was watching that game, there was one instance where Lyon's right back, literally saw Garnacho. He saw Bruno lining up to play. Bruno loves them long passes in behind. But he saw him. As soon as Bruno started shaping up to play the ball, I saw that Lyon defender run. He looked over, saw Garnacho, and he ran. He sprinted straight away. And as Bruno played it, he was already on the move. So the Lyon defender, even though the ball got to Garnacho, the Lyon defender was still close enough to the point where he could make that slide tackle and he could intercept and he could stop Garnacho from going in and having a 1v1. So obviously me watching that, I'm gonna know, alright, cool, if I see the centre mid in a real game shaping up, I'm just gonna be check my shoulders and I'm gonna be ready to run, you understand? The more football you watch, the more football, in my opinion, you watch like this. You watch the players who play in your positions and you just really sort of analyse. Trust me, it's just going to help you so much on the pitch because you're going to see those situations on the pitch. Trust me, I know it sounds mad, but you are going to see those situations on the pitch more. Your mind is just naturally going to go back to, alright, cool, remember what this player did in this game. If you play left wing, you're going to be like, alright, cool, remember what Kvaratskhelia did in this game, or what Rafa Leao did in this game, or if you're a right winger, what Saka did in this game, Maybe it was a good thing, maybe it was a bad thing that they did, you know what I'm saying? Maybe it was a striker, a centre mid, a centre back. No matter what it is, whether they do a good thing or a bad thing, if you're constantly watching and just sort of asking questions, why did that happen? Why did this happen? How did this happen? What led to the other team conceding a goal? When you ask little questions like this and you're just looking at a player, trust me, your football intelligence is gonna improve so much. And also, your awareness, because like I said, when you go onto the pitch, you're going to be aware of, you know, the situations happening. You're almost going to feel like you've been there before. You're almost going to feel like you have this sense of deja vu because you've seen it so much in professional football. That's the video on how to improve your awareness on the football pitch. I hope you enjoyed. I've been JT and I'm out.